So the budget, March 2013, started off badly for me. I thought I might get 3 predictions in a row right of the Chancellor's tie, but I was woefully out. I thought he might go for gold or even green, but he went for pale blue. So that was a poor start for me. A poor start for the budget itself, though, was the whole thing was pretty much leaked to the London Evening Standard. I had said I thought this would be a bit of a boring budget, with maybe just a few crumbs thrown, and it did turn out to be a budget with no surprises at all due to that leak. What was surprising though was the rowdiness of the crowd, both sides being told off by the stand-in speaker for making too much noise and behaving in an unruly fashion, most unedifying. An aspiration nation is what George wanted us to be. That was a phrase he used at the start, in the middle and at the end, and no doubt will be in the papers tomorrow if it wasn't already in the London Evening Standard. George says we as a country are going to avoid recession. Technically that's not 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. 1% seemed to be the figure of the day. 1% public sector pay cuts, except for the military. Department spending rather, to be cut by 1%, except for the NHS and schools. And almost 1% of our national income to be spent on international development, and a 1% reduction in corporation tax. That was probably the big one, the reduction in corporation tax, going to be one of the lowest rates in Europe. Hopefully though, that will bring with it some companies that pay it. Obviously been a few high profile big name companies not paying any corporation tax recently, so they're not going to be worried about 1% cut, are they? The fuel duty rise scrapped as forecast by many. The beer duty escalator scrapped, so cheers for that one. Should have had a pint of beer with me, shouldn't I? A bit early in the day though, maybe I should get my budget report out a bit later, give me time to get the beers in. And 1p off beer duty as well. Another good one, employer national insurance cut, and probably the biggest one of all was the bringing forward of the £10,000 band for no income tax. So that one will help a lot of low earners and simplify tax calculations as well, frankly. In terms of pure financial planning itself, not actually mentioned from the dispatch box, but no doubt one of those things that will be in all the small print and the reading that come out later. Leaked in a few of the papers this morning, simplifying, always good news. Things like child trust funds going into or rolling into the new junior ISAs. So that'd be great to get rid of that anomaly in the system. George said that the UK is building the most competitive tax system in the world. I would suggest that thus far we've been building one of the most complicated rather than competitive tax systems in the world. I remember a report a couple of years ago saying that our tax legislation at something like 11,500 pages was now bigger than India's, and the tax volumes have gone up from sort of 1.5 slim volumes to 5 books. So anyway, hopefully things will simplify as well as being competitive. There was another kind of tax relief announced.
Tax relief has been announced for high-end TV and animation visual effects.
There you go, high-end visual effects. CGT relief on sale of business shares to employees. No stamp duty on certain kind of growth shares like AIM. That might filter through down to some benefits. Corporation tax, as mentioned earlier, the big one, going down to a 20% rate, flat rate, first time since 1973 across the board, said George Osborne, and that is going to be paid for by increasing the bank levy. The flat pension, £144 a week, is being brought forward. That's now going to start in April 2016. Big news for mortgages, potentially, with the Help to Buy, getting people with up to a 20% deposit move up the housing ladder, and I think that Help to Buy echoes there of the Thatcher Right to Buy in the 80s maybe. And finally then, back to that beer, I suppose. Oh, it's been quite a good day then. Got my budget summary done. We've got the tax tables due out tomorrow morning, and with 1p off beer duty, there's only one possible way I could celebrate. It would be rude not to, wouldn't it? It's nearly 4 o'clock. I'm not really going to drink this.